Hey everybody, I'm Dan. Let's get right to it. Behind me you can see our natural gas stove. We needed to put a vent in. We had it with these stale cooking odors. So I decided to surprise my wife for our 28th wedding anniversary. So this is what Mary got for a gift. All right, so here's what we have going on behind us. We've got this Whirlpool microwave, and it's just a standard recirculation mode that it's set at right now. And what that means is when we turn on the microwave, the vent gases just come right through here. So we're cooking with a natural gas stove. So any of the combustion gases just recirculate in the house. While that's not a terrible thing, there's been more of a movement for people to have a healthier environment inside their house. So we decided to jump on that just for our own peace of mind and for our own comfort. So when cooking on the stove or when cooking in the microwave, anything we did would just recirculate in the house. And that's why we decided to go ahead and vent the microwave. So the first step was actually taking the microwave, removing it from the wall. After we did that, we took the template that we actually bought this house 2.5 years ago. So this microwave is 2.5 years old and works fine. We kept the template because I knew someday I was going to decide to put a roof vent in and vent this thing to the outside. So we took the template and we marked the wood here on the underside of this cabinet, and we cut a hole large enough for us to put a 7-inch duct adapter. And then it's actually a 10-inch adapter that adapts to a 7-inch round duct. So from there, we took a length of 7-inch pipe, and that was a 2-foot length of pipe. We attached another length of pipe to get us through the attic. Now, when we went through the attic, we went up through, and then we had to cock it a little bit and then head off to the roof vent because we had to avoid, and you'll see that later on, we had to avoid roof trusses, we had to avoid a couple plumbing lines, and we had to avoid some electrical. So sometimes when you put these things in, you have to kind of jockey around to get things done the way you needed to. So what I did is I took 2 lengths of 30 gauge solid metal ductwork. So this is not flexible duct. We wanted it solid, we wanted it up to code. So we triple taped the joints, and in some cases we taped them 4 times because we just wanted to make sure everything stayed together nice and solid. So we went through the hole with the 10-inch adapter that went to the 7-inch round. We popped those suckers on there, and then you'll see an angle that we put into the pipe, and then we transitioned to a 6-inch pipe, head up to the roof vent, and then everything's sealed up, and all the cooking odors, the moisture, and the combustion gases from the stove go outdoors now. I mean, it's so great that you can put in a cup of hot chocolate here. Let's use a better example. Let's say popcorn. You can throw popcorn in the sucker, turn it on, and you don't smell the popcorn odors in the house. Now, that's not a bad thing, but man, if you have ever burned a bag of popcorn, you know what it can do to your house. You smell that stuff for like 4 days. So with this, the smoke can go outside. So while the fire department's racing to our house because maybe somebody called the fire department, at least the odors and everything would be outside, and it would be rather a funny explanation. So anyway, the first thing is, I'm going to show this in the B-roll. I took a bunch of moving blankets, stacked them up on the stove, loosened the 2 bolts that hold this microwave up to the cabinet, lowered it down to the blankets, disconnected the power cord, threaded it through the little hole upstairs, and just pull that microwave right out. It was very simple. The microwave was rather light. I put it in the garage. Then I went ahead and cut that opening. Now, when I cut that opening, I made it larger. I made it about 13 inches wide by 4 inches or so to accommodate that adapter because it's 10 inches wide, maybe 10 1/4, and about 3.5 inches wide. So we had to have room. And the other thing we did, which you'll see shortly, is as we put the vent in, we took that aluminum tape, that metal duct tape there, not duct tape, but the ducting tape that we use here, the foil tape, and we sealed the microwave to the duct adapter. Then we went up and you can see that we sealed the round pipe to the adapter, and then there's a joint up above the cabinet, and we'll also talk about that. In the end, you don't want to see a pipe popping through your house, and in most houses, you don't just vent straight up into the attic. You've got to kick it right or left or back or forward to get around some sort of obstacle that you've got up there. And like I said, in our case, we had a couple plumbing lines, some electrical, we had some truss work we had to go around, so we had to cock this thing a little bit. Well, the way to hide that is to build a box downstairs when you're done, and I just made it out of drywall, and I just popped it in and just caulked it to the ceiling and to the cabinet, and put the sheetrock mud on there, taped it up, sanded it, and then painted it. Gave it a couple coats of paint, and it looks like it's been there all the way through. So for the next step, we're going to go upstairs, and I'll just show you a couple of things up there, up in the attic. Okay, once our stairs deploy down here to the floor, we'll climb up in the attic, and I'll show you exactly what we did up there to get that sucker done. These are magic stairs. They're made right here in Florida. They're fantastic units. I've installed a bunch of these things for people, and although they're super pricey, they're absolutely fantastic units, and I just love having them. You guys would love them too. All right, let's go up to the attic. We'll climb the stairs here. Up we go. Hey, let's turn on a light. All right, we're going to go up a couple steps. And we'll go down the gangway. This here is our dryer vent. So that's a 4-inch pipe for our dryer. And we're headed down into the dark recesses here. You can see the oven vent pipe, I should say, the microwave vent pipe coming up right here. Now I'm going to turn on some lighting. Bam, there we go. Okay, so this is what we have. To go backwards, this is a 6-inch pipe here, and it's vented out through the roof vent. I did a water test this morning on it. Had no drips, no runs, no errors. It was great. Just like they say in the Krylon commercials, right? And then this thing runs down, and it goes down here to the floor. Now I'm going to try to put the camera where I can't go right now without jumping down in. There's kind of a weird offset. And what happened was, if you look, you can see in the foam, we've got a couple, in the insulation, we've got a bunch of foam pipe there. We've got a couple plumbing lines. We've got a cable line running there. We've got some network cables. There's some electrical. So we had to cock that pipe and actually cock it back that way a little bit so it didn't come through the ceiling straight. There's also a truss member that runs right underneath here. And so we had to cock it further for that reason as well. And what we did to cancel out all those weird angles was to put this 90-degree stovepipe angle. This is a 7-inch stovepipe. And then we just angled it and got it to where we needed. From here, we made a straight line and said, hey, let's throw the vent right up there. It's a few feet away from our attic vent there. And we were able to go right in the middle of the trusses, so it worked out really nice on the roof deck. The other thing that happened is, if you notice, this is a 7-inch pipe here with the stovepipe angle, and then there's a transition. We transitioned from 7 inches back to 6 inches because we wanted to have a 6-inch stovepipe run through the top, because the attic vent that we put in actually takes a 6-inch pipe. So when you look at these things, you'll see that we put quadruple foil tape around each joint. And in addition to where the transition was, I actually cut a piece of pipe and made a strip and put it on the bottom side to strengthen that joint and put that all together. Got your screws in there, everything is nice, and then it's all sealed up with the tape. We spent a little bit for the roof vent, and it has a damper on it, and that's one thing you have to have with this. Once your vent shuts down, you want the damper to close so you don't have backdrafts coming in your house. So that's it here. In a few minutes, we can go up on the roof. Oh yeah, one more thing that I forgot to mention. You see that foam insulation around the pipe down where the 7-inch pipe comes through the ceiling, right? The other thing we did is, once we had the pipes all set, obviously we had the insulation pushed back so we can see what kind of obstacles we had to deal with. So what we did is we took a can of spray foam and put a bit of spray foam around the pipe. And that way we sealed the pipe and sealed the ceiling so we don't have any attic heat pushing down into our house, into our air-conditioned space. So it was just a simple idea of putting some foam around. You can't see it here, but it's just spray foam. And it went down into the house a little bit. So I cut that off down there and then built that drywall box above the cabinet, which concealed the pipe, concealed the angle, and just made things look nice and tight. Again, we're going to head up to the roof. All right, let's head down, throw some shoes on, and we'll take a ladder up to the roof. I'll show you the vent, show you the kind of vent we used. And it worked out really well because that Braun vent is a popular vent. It was easy to install, easy if you have the knowledge and the skills, of course. We'll turn off the light here, save a little electricity. All right, let's continue outside. Just a little tip, when you take a ladder and put it up on the roof, I put it right where there is a gutter screw. So that way the gutter screw keeps the gutter from folding in. And I also take a towel and put it down in. And you see the brawn vent here. So what I did is after I was done installing, I painted it brown. It's a little hard to see. It was a very windy day when I installed this, but I just came up and it was a black vent when I started, and now it's brown because the community required that I have it match the same color as the other roof vents. It's a little different, but it's still brown, and once the colors fade a little bit, it'll work just fine. You see a little bit of overspray on the shingles. Not a big deal, that'll wear away over time. Again, it was windy. I had just put down the tar on the sides and back of the roof vent, so I couldn't put any cardboard nearby, so I didn't worry about it because you can't see it, and again, Mother Nature will beat up that paint in no time. Again, this is a brawn vent, and any nail that you see here has been gooped up. I've got goop around this, and right inside, right there, that metal flap, that strip that you see there, that's the vent. So as soon as the microwave turns on, that vent lifts up, and the air, the gases, the moisture, everything comes out. So I did a water test on this morning. I went down the back side of the house over here. I ran a garden hose up, and I let it sit on that vent, and I let it run down, and it ran around this thing for a half hour. We had no issues at all. So that's the roof vent. Let's get back down to the house. So we're going to go back inside here. And now we're here. And we'll talk about the last portion. Let's turn on some lights. Okay, when you look at the top, you see a box up on top. And again, as I told you, the microwave went up, and I'm trying to keep the camera in focus. The microwave went up and off to the left. The pipe from the microwave went up straight through the cabinet, but it went off to the left. You can't see it because I built a box to conceal that. When you get to the piping here, you'll see I experimented with a couple different holes in the shelving. Because the pipe was so large, it's a 7-inch OD pipe, 7-inch diameter, and I cut out to about 11 inches and about 10.5 on the one above. I was just playing with the dimensions. You've got to cut a wider hole than the ductwork because you have to tilt your shelves in order to get them into the cabinet. So I made it so that these would easily fit in there. And what you see is what we put in there. We don't put much, but it's very simple. And again, as you saw the B-roll pictures, you saw the different processes. So that's the end of the story. I mean, it just works out great. There we go. When we turn on the microwave vent, we just push the vent button. And there it is. So that's on high. It's got a medium setting, and it's got a low setting. So it works out really well. And the tip that we learned is if we're going to be cooking on the oven or baking in the oven, turn the fan on when you turn the oven on, so you get some convection and get some air moving up through, and you get a path of air so that the exhaust from the stove, well, if you have a burner, if you're cooking anything with a heavy odor, try to cook it on the back burner, because then it'll go up under the hood and get up where it needs to go. Now, if you're cooking with the oven vents out right here, so by having the fan on high, it'll suck the odors, it'll suck them up and pull them right up through. So that's one of the other tips. When you're done cooking, let the fan run for a little bit. You know, we all try to save money and save electricity, but it's not going to kill you to run your fan an extra 5 minutes. If you can afford to put in one of these, you can do this. And speaking of cost, did you know it only cost us about $252 to put this in? It was less than $200 for the materials. It was $52 to pay the HOA to run the application fee and give us an approval for this thing. That was it, and then it was just my labor. So it was a labor of love. It was a 28-year anniversary gift for my wife. She's absolutely thrilled with it. Appreciate you guys watching this. Hope you learned a few things. We'll see you on the next video.